think we're live. Hello, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. We got a nice little 13 game slate here.
Little slate? It's pretty big. Monster slate, not a little slate. There's a lot of games, lots of news today. I think some COVID news.
Yeah, we have the Houston game that I presume will be postponed. Harden was at the strip club.
Brought his whole team there, or did he just bring COVID back?
I don't know. Well, I think John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins were there as well. So we'll have to see how we handle that.
Yeah, let me just check. Everything's good. Should be good. Okay. What do you want to jump right into the slate first? Go over all the teams, or do you want to go over?
No, we gotta go over your $17,000 win yesterday.
The showdown? Or it wasn't
Yeah,
showdown.
see how you did that.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun.
So let's go to the Fanduel page first. Let's see that.
Fanduel page. Here it is.
Okay, so you had the first and fourth place team, right?
Yeah, you were saying, I saw too actually, that if the fourth place team did a bit better, I wouldn't have had to split it 3 ways. First place, that would have been double, right?
Yeah, because you were unique with that fourth place team, right?
Yeah, no one else had it.
Let's see it quickly.
Fourth place one is right here.
So the difference is
same team same players except I had Harrell at the star instead of Leonard. So just those.
And which one won? Leonard and Star?
Leonard at the star was the one that got first place.
And that one was duped, right?
Pardon?
That one was duped, the Leonard Star one?
Yeah, there's 3 ways. But I think the point difference here is, what is that? It's like
1.12.
Yeah, it's like nothing. What is that, like literally any other anything? Like,
yeah, you got pretty unlucky because Kawhi was out there with like 2 minutes left, like 3 minutes after the Lakers pulled AD and LeBron. So he was just out there in garbage time, chucking. He had like 30 shots.
Yeah.
Just kind of tilting. But
yeah,
it's nice.
Still worked out either. I'm not complaining.
So do you have the build that you did?
Yeah, I have most of it. The way I did it was, I was looking at the slate. The first thing I was trying to figure out, it's a single game slate, so I was just trying to figure out what one thing I could do to all of my lineups, or most of my lineups, that would make them a bit more unique than the rest of the field. Because this was I think it's a 150 max entry contest, right?
Yeah.
So I only put in 10, so I wanted to have like a unique take, but not anything too crazy. So the one that I found that I actually really liked was putting Paul George at the MVP. Because his upside, I think, is always there. You were talking about Paul George in yesterday's show. You seemed to say that he's not very. You said he would be like the least popular of the stars, right?
Yeah. So what I really like about this, in that game, there's like 4. If you go back to our projections for that game, there's 4 top players, right? 2 on each team: LeBron and AD for the Lakers, Kawhi and Paul George for the Clippers.
Yep. So
when you put Paul George in MVP for most of your teams, you're making your lineups unique, right?
Yeah.
So if the game goes the way you want it to, with the Clippers winning, like all you have to have happen is Paul George beating Kawhi Leonard. So if you go to the Fanduel page, you can see the MVP ownership for these players. So you just find LeBron and AD in another team?
Yeah, I think I have one.
You have a few, I think.
I have 2 with both of them in one.
Yeah, there. Okay, so from top to bottom, we have AD at 50% MVP. So if you played AD and MVP, you probably weren't going to be unique. And then LeBron came in at 27, Kawhi at 17, and Paul George at 5. So just that one switch going Paul George MVP, all you needed was him to be the top scorer, and you have a chance for a takedown, which happened.
Yeah. So the way I set that up, actually, I set up a minimum percent setting for Paul George, which I had at 70. So 7 out of my 10 lineups would have him just from this, forced him in, and then that was enough. Yeah. It took me a while to figure out what unique take I would like here. That wasn't too crazy, and I mean, when I realized Paul George probably wouldn't be high in MVP, I thought it was
yeah, because there's 3 players that you knew would be more popular, right? They project better, so
that could all go off, and Paul George could also go off. Yeah, and then the other thing I did here was, since I was only doing 10, I didn't want to leave it too random. The team, I didn't want to leave it just to the optimizer. I wanted to make sure I actually had Batum and Schroeder in all of my lineups. So I locked both of these players in. And that was it. It was just adding Paul George 70%, and then locking 2 players in this game that I liked in my utility. And the rest rest was optimal.
So if you go to the Fanduel page, people will probably say, "Oh, you got lucky. LeBron and AD, they had 4 games, right?"
Yeah.
Well, if you look at your builds, you had builds with LeBron and AD as well. Just because those ones weren't the ones that won,
yeah,
you still had something that got you there with Schroeder and Harrell, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you just have to be unique and then hope that you're live once the time comes.
Yeah, and it only took 10 entries, and it's 150 max. So I typically don't do 150 max in those. I just like to do 10 or 20, and that works for me.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, you want to jump into this giant 13?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is it maybe 12 game, or is it definitely 13 game slate?
Hopefully once we get to that game we have more news, but for now let's just go through them all as if they're all playing.
Okay. Let's go through. Let's go first game, New York, Indiana. So, nope. Okay, so for the New York game, we have Dennis Smith. He's probable. And then we have Austin Rivers. He's out. Mitchell Robinson is probable. Spellman is out for the Knicks. Anything there that... I guess we can go through the starters as well.
Yeah, let's go through the starters. Projected starters, at least.
Projected starters. Right now we have Barrett, Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robinson, Randall, Payton, and Burks. What do you think of this team?
So everything in this game is pretty ugly. It's one of the lowest totals on the slate, 216. Oh, actually, what is it? Yeah, 216 with a 7.5 spread for Indiana. So we got a pretty big spread. We have a low total. Everything here screams stay away if you're playing cash games. For GPPs, I could take some shots at someone like Alec Burks. He's really cheap on both sites. He has upside. Thibodeau is their coach, so he likes to run guys into the ground. Yeah, so his usage is pretty good. Someone like Mitch Robinson, he's got on Fanduel because of the block and steal upside. Other than that, I probably would stay away. It's pretty ugly, this game. And this team.
You don't like the Knicks today. Let's just say today.
Most days.
Most days, okay. And then let's just go through Indiana quickly. I think they only have, Miles Turner probable, and then Warren questionable.
Yeah, so that's one we got to keep an eye on. TJ Warren. He had the foot injury, I believe.
Yeah.
If he's out, we probably bump up all the main guys. Justin Holiday will probably start for him. But since it's the first game, I probably expect him to start here.
Warren?
Yeah, do we have a projected starting lineup for this? game?
Yeah, so we have projected Warren, then Turner, Sabonis, Brogdon, Oladipo.
Yeah, so pretty similar to the Knicks side. There's a lot of guys here. Usually you don't want to pick players from this team unless there's injuries, because they have so many guys they could give it to. You just never know on any given night. Sabonis is probably my favorite play from the Pacers. I like him more on DraftKings with the double-double bonus, and he's cheaper on DraftKings actually at 7.4.
Yeah.
So I don't mind him there, but other than that, I probably wouldn't play too much here.
Okay, let's jump into the next game because there's way too much going on today.
Yeah, we gotta go
we did
quick.
yesterday because yesterday's only 2 games.
Yes.
Next one we can jump into is the Miami Orlando game. So for Miami, I don't think anyone's out, right?
No, it doesn't look like it.
So for
They're
their
pretty
starting,
healthy.
we have right now Robinson, Adebayo, Harkless, Butler, and Tyler Hero. What do you like there? What are you thinking?
Well, like the other game, this is a 217 total. The better games are coming later on in the night, so I probably want to stay away as well. We have guys like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo that are interesting, but I probably wouldn't play them in my cash or GPP games. Like, this team is similar to the Pacers where they spread it around a lot. They have like a few different ball handlers. They have guys that shoot in the like 10 to 15 shots, a few of them. So they don't really have a main guy. Someone that could get there with steals and blocks upside is probably Bam Adebayo, but I probably wouldn't play too much of him in cash and GPP.
There's just so many options today.
Yeah, like we have to take stands some places, so I don't want to target the low total games when there's games at like 234 later.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's go over Orlando. They're missing Ennis. I don't know. Is that a big deal?
James Ennis?
Yeah.
No.
I think that's it for their news. I think we have.
And do we have a projected starting lineup?
Yeah, I was just about to do it. Bacon, Vucevic, Gordon, Fultz, which I'm excited to see if he's better, and Fournier. What do you like here?
Fultz signed that contract, didn't he, recently?
Yeah, juicy contract, big one.
Mm-hmm.
3
Yeah,
right?
so I kind of like Fultz. He's not playing in front of DJ Augustine anymore, so he's a bit safer with his minutes. They used to sort of split them. Vucevic is always good. I always like him against Miami. He seems to always have good games. So I like him, and he's probably my favorite GPP play from this entire game. Other than that, like, I don't want to target guys from this game, so just probably Fultz and Vucevic.
Do you like them? I'm just going to mark them.
Yeah, I like them.
Okay. Next up, we have the Washington-Philadelphia game. Load that one up. Okay, so so for this game, let's just do Washington first.
Okay.
I think Westbrook, the only news we had there was whether or not Westbrook would be minutes restriction, which it looks like he's not, right?
Yeah, and we have Hachimura. He got pink eye, so probably bumps up Denny a bit, bumps up Bertans.
Yeah,
guys like that.
Starting for them, we have Westbrook, Beal, Bertans, Thomas Bryant, and
Denny.
Is that the Israeli player?
Yeah, Denny. So this is projected. It's not confirmed yet, this lineup.
Yeah.
But this game is more interesting than the first two we talked about. It has a 231 total. The spread is pretty high. It's at 7 for Philly right now. So there's a little bit of blowout risk. It shouldn't blow out. Yesterday's game was 7, the Brooklyn game, and it did blow out. But usually you shouldn't project a blowout with a 7-point spread. But players I like here, Bradley Beal, he's 8-1 on Fanduel. I really like that. Russell Westbrook, we know how good he is. He's not restricted, so he should have the ball. Yeah, he should have the ball in his hands a lot. Thomas Bryant, I like Thomas Bryant a lot as well, especially on Fanduel. He's only 5'9". He always has block and steal upside, and that's obviously better on Fanduel. Other than that, I probably don't have too much interest in this game. Maybe I'll take a few shots on Denny in GPPs.
Do you know how to say his last name?
Avdila? I don't know.
Avdia?
Something like that. Yeah, we'll have to listen tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. Post-game interview, hopefully he'll say it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's go over the Sixers quickly. I think there's no news coming from their team, and their starters today will be what projected: Simmons, Curry, Harris, Embiid, and Green. So there's looks like two new pieces here in their rotation.
Yeah, so they finally got shooters around Ben Simmons, which is really good. Philly has the highest projected total on the slate. I think it's at 119. So we do want to target players from here. I think Ben Simmons could really go off in this high-paced game.
Yep.
Guys like Green, I hate playing Green, so I'm probably going to exclude him.
Yeah.
Seth Curry, I like Seth Curry. He can get hot. If he gets hot, he can get there on DraftKings with the 3-point bonus.
Yeah.
Embiid's obviously always in play. I like him better on FanDuel, but he's not a priority in my cash games because we have someone cheaper later on that really pops out. So if I'm playing GPPs, I'll probably include Ben Simmons in some of my builds just because this game has the highest total.
Yeah.
There's not really anyone off the bench that interests me. You could take some shots on Dwight Howard, maybe. It's a revenge game. But, yeah, other than that, I don't want to play Tobias Harris. So I'll just stick with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid for the most part.
Okay. Next game.
I like Ben Simmons a lot. He's probably, one of my favorite GPP plays tonight.
Usually don't play GPP. So you have a favorite GPP play. That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, you're just exposing me.
I'm going to note that, yeah. Well, I'm
going
to note that pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Charlotte, Cleveland, next up. Oops. I think over here there's a bit more players missing. I don't know on Charlotte how many of them matter. What we have for their starting lineup right now. So for Charlotte, we have Hayward, Zeller, Washington, Graham, and Rozier. What do you think of the Hornet players today?
This game has a 216 over/under right now. The Charlotte side doesn't interest me as much as the Cavaliers side. They have a few guys missing tonight. But Gordon Hayward, I like Gordon Hayward. I project him to do really well this year. He should be in a high usage role, like how he was in Utah before.
Yeah.
Like he should be their main guy. Someone I really like, he's probably a lock in cash games. Maybe not a lock, but he's like a top 3 play is Terry Rozier on FanDuel. He's 4-6 for some reason. I assume they thought LaMelo would be starting.
So they must be pricing?
Yeah, that's a misprice right there.
What would you price him at?
He's probably like 5 to 6K. He should be. Yeah, so Terry Rozier on FanDuel, I really like him. On Charlotte, Gordon Hayward, I like him in GPPs, but other than that, I'll probably stay away from this team.
Okay, and then for the Cavs, quite a few guys missing. Kevin Porter, Exum, Matthew Dellavedova, and then Kevin Love.
Yeah, so this game, this team is where we'll get a lot of our value from. Even though it's a low total, we have a few key guys missing: Kevin Love, Kevin Porter. So Larry Nance is going to start for Kevin Love. We got that news yesterday or 2 days ago. So he's looking like a really good play on FanDuel. A little bit more expensive on DraftKings, so I don't love him there. But one of my favorite plays, cash and GPP, comes from this game. It's Andre Drummond. He's underpriced for his role. He absolutely crushes point per minute.
Yeah, he does.
So with no Kevin Love, this game only has a 2.5 spread.
Yeah.
He should be able to get there. Like, I think he has 50-point plus upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's one of my favorite plays on this entire slate.
Okay, just some news on the last game that we covered. Warren and Turner are in.
Warren and Turner are in? Yeah, so just like we projected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I guess, do you want to quickly go over the Cleveland starters? Okoro, Drummond, Nance, Sexton, Garland. Do you like Okoro at all, or Garland?
I like Garland. He was shooting a lot in the preseason, and he's only 4-1 on DraftKings, which stands out.
Yeah.
I like him as a last piece. I don't mind playing him in cash games. He's not a priority, but if he makes the rest of your build work, he's probably worth it, because it's probably a stars and scrubs build for the most part, just because we have all this mispricing, and then we have 13 games, so we have a lot of high-end plays tonight, like Giannis, Drummond, Luka, we'll get to. So yeah.
Okay, let's jump into the next game. We have the Bucks.
Before we do that, let's plug our giveaway that we're running on Twitter. So when we reach 100 YouTube subs, we'll be giving away a free monthly pass to anyone who retweets our pinned tweet. We can link it in the YouTube chat. How about we do that?
You got that?
Let me get it real quick. I can send it to you, or I'll just do it. And then, so once we reach 100 YouTube subs, we'll be giving that away.
Yeah, it's good value. Free money. Double free money, because it's a free subscription. And then with the subscription, it's a money printer. So it's double free money. It's too good. So
yep.
Do it.
Double free money.
And yeah, I guess we said before, if you already have a subscription, you can still participate. You'll just get a free month. So it's good for everyone.
Yeah, and also if anyone has any questions on this slate, you could ask them in the Discord chat. We have a stream Q&A channel,
which is free.
Or in the YouTube chat also.
The Q&A on our Discord is free. Anyone can join. We have the links in the description on YouTube and also on our Twitter.
Yeah.
Bio.
You can just use the YouTube chat if you're watching from YouTube.
Yeah, let's try to do the questions at the end, because there's just so many games to go through before then.
Okay.
Okay, so next game, Bucks versus Celtics. Let's go over the Bucks first. Milwaukee. They have DJ Augustine out, and for the starters right now we have Middleton, Lopez, Giannis, Holiday, and DiVincenzo. What do you make of that, Chris?
This game is the TNT game tonight, so it's on national TV. It's the marquee matchup of the slate. So I really like Giannis. We're talking about the Bucks first, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Giannis on DraftKings, I think he's a little bit too cheap. He has the triple-double upside, of course. He's only 10-2. He signed the big contract, so he's staying in Milwaukee for 5 more years. So I like Giannis a lot. Other than that, there's no one that really stands out salary-wise from this game. Drew Holiday in some of the smaller slates, maybe the express slates, the early slates. I like him, but for the main slate, probably just Giannis is the only one from this team that stands out to me.
Do you think Giannis is gonna try to, play a bit harder today? Because I think last we saw him in the playoffs, he was kind of upset.
I don't know. He always gets there anyways, so he doesn't really need to play harder. He's only 10-2 on DraftKings, so
you don't want to touch the narrative. Got it.
Yeah, on FanDuel he's 11-5, which is a little bit too expensive in that position because we have some strong value there that we'll get to later. but definitely on DraftKings we can do a stars and scrubs build.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's do Boston. I guess Tristan Thompson probable. Right.
He's probable now?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We have him probable here right now, and then I don't know if you care about Taco Fall. You don't care, Taco Fall. Starters, we have Brown, Tice, Tatum, Smart, and Green. What do you think of this one?
So similarly to the Bucks, there's probably one guy that stands out, Jason Tatum. He's like Kemba Walker's out. They got rid of Gordon Hayward, so I really expect Jason Tatum to take the next step this season. He's probably going to be one of the top 5 MVP candidates. So he might be a little underpriced here. He's 9-2 on DraftKings, I believe 9-8 on Fanduel. So I like Jason Tatum. He's probably going to be a bit lower owned just because you can get up to Giannis for only a little bit more. And obviously Giannis has the name value because he's such a big star, but I think Tatum could be interesting. I really like him in GPPs as well. I think he has upside for 60. Yeah, that's probably it from this game.
Upside for 60. That's quite a bit of upside.
Yeah, so I really like Tatum in GPPs. I would say that.
Yeah, you
on
like
both
Tatum.
sides.
Always like Tatum. Okay, next game we have the Pelicans versus my Toronto Raptors. That's going to be a good one to watch. I don't know if it's good for DFS yet. Let's go over the Pelicans first. McCaw? Or that's Toronto, my bad. They open up. Yeah. So for the Pelicans right now, we have Ingram starting, Adams starting, Zion starting, Ball, and Bledsoe. I guess they have a few new guys on their team. What do you make of the Pelicans this year?
I like the Pelicans. They got rid of Drew Holiday and they brought in Eric Bledsoe. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a bump for Lonzo this year. I think Ingram and Zion will take the next step as well, as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah.
So this game has a 229 over-under and a pretty tight spread of 4. Raptors are favored by 4. So I do like targeting this game. You know who the production is going to come from the Pelicans. It's going to be Zion, Ingram, Ball, and Bledsoe for the most part. So when we have this condensed rotation, sort of, we know who where the production is going to come from.
Yeah.
I like targeting teams like this. So Zion and Ingram, they make a lot of sense for me on FanDuel. And I think on DraftKings, they're a little too overpriced.
Yeah.
But Lonzo Ball, I like him as a GPP play. He has triple-double upside if he gets the minutes, which I believe he will. So I don't mind Ball in GPPs. There's not really anyone here that stands out in cash games for me on either site. So yeah, I think we can move on to Toronto.
Before we do that, breaking news. I think the Houston game is actually postponed.
Confirmed?
Yeah.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, good thing we didn't... Oh, NBA rules, James Harden violated COVID protocols. Yeah, there was a video that leaked of him in the strip club, so...
Holy shit. He really can't help himself.
Yeah, well, I don't think he wants to be there anyway, so... He's probably
that's true.
trying his hardest to get traded.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I'm glad we didn't go through that game, because we have a lot of guys popping there right now.
Yeah, Danny Walker in the YouTube chat also said it's cancelled.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's go back to Toronto quickly. So I think they just have notable players, I guess if you want to say notable, McCaw out. And then other than that, starting lineup for them is Lowry, Van Fleet, Anunoby, Siakam, and Baines.
Do we have news on Norm Powell yet? I think he's questionable.
Yeah, I think he is playing.
He had
got that news 10 minutes ago.
He's in? Okay, so if he was out, we could have made a case for the Toronto guards, but now this team has a projected total of 117, so they are one of the top teams to target. It's a fast-paced game, obviously, against the Pelicans. And I like a few guys here, but I wouldn't go too heavy on them. They're more GPP plays just because we have such a large slate. We don't need to jam these guys in. So for GPPs, I like Siakam. Maybe he'll try and prove his haters wrong. He had the horrible performance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
His one spin move didn't work anymore, so he wasn't very successful.
It's a good spin move. I won him a championship, but yeah, he needs a bit more right now.
Well, I think Kawhi won him the championship, but I like him more on DraftKings. He's cheaper on DraftKings, so when a player is cheaper on DraftKings, he's probably a better play there, just because pricing is softer on Fanduel.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Lowry, I like him on DraftKings in GPPs. Other than that, there's not really anyone from the Raptors. Maybe one guy that has sneaky upside is Aaron Baines.
Baines?
He was on the Suns last year. He put up some big games.
3-pointers.
He has 3-pointers. He has steal and block upside. So I like him a lot on FanDuel. He's 4th-2 there, I believe. Other than that, there's not really anyone off the bench that I like, and yeah.
And then with Powell playing, do you think that'll switch their starting lineup?
No, I think that if he was out, we could have maybe prioritized Lowry and VanVleet a bit more, but with him in, I probably want to focus on the front court guys like Siakam and Baines for the most part. But like I said, this isn't a team to target in cash games.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with the San Antonio game next versus the Grizzlies. What we have here.
Yeah, so just before we start here, this game is one of the top games today. It has a 230 total, and the spread is only 2 for Memphis. So,
Close.
Yeah.
Always good. That's exactly what you look for cash games, right?
Yeah, and just DFS in general, you want these high total games with tight spreads.
Okay, I think we just got Mitchell Robinson confirmed starting.
Starting?
Yeah.
Do we know if Noel is in or out?
No, I don't see any news on Noel, but we just have Robinson
I think he's
starting,
in
Bullock starting, Hayden starting.
Yeah, I think everything there is as we talked about, as we projected. So only if there's a change in the starting lineup, we can go back to it. But if it stays the same, I think we're good to just move forward.
Denny's starting, actually. We just got that, so that's interesting.
Yeah, so Bonga is actually starting. We had Bertans projected, but that doesn't change anything for that game. I still think everything I said still stands true.
Okay, let's
for the Wizards.
Try to get through these games quickly. Yeah, so for this game for San Antonio, who we have, I guess no notable people out. Right now we have DeRozan starting, Murray, Walker, Gay, and Aldridge. What do you think?
Yeah. So we actually have Derek White. He's out. I think he has some serious injury. Like he's out for a month or so. So DeJounte Murray is going to be popping in a lot of builds until he's priced up a little. He's really cheap on both sides. I like him a lot. He's one of my favorite cash game plays for either site at point guard. He's 5'6" on DraftKings and 6'2" on FanDuel.
Yep.
And for the other players, so this game, like I was saying, it has a high total and a tight spread. So we do want to target guys from here. I think DeRozan has good upside here. He was passing the ball more last year, so he has a higher assist rate than usual. His usage is still good, so I like targeting him. DeRozan and Murray are both cash viable. I would take some shots on Aldridge and GPPs if you think this game will shoot out. But other than that, I probably want to stick with DeRozan and Murray as my main guys in cash games.
Okay, got it. Let's go over the Grizzlies. I don't think there's any notable news on their side. Right now we have Morant starting, Allen, Brooks, Anderson, and Joval. What do you think of these guys? Grizzlies.
So
Grizzlies.
I think Morant is really interesting. This game is the high total game, and John Morant is a monster. He had some really big games in the preseason. He's not popping in our optimals right now just because of his price. It's like 7-8 on Fanduel and 8-4 on DraftKings. There's just cheaper guys on this 13-game slate that we can target.
Yeah.
But if you're playing GPPs, I really like him a lot. He has probably 50-point upside, maybe more. Joval Valanciunas, I like him too. He can always have a big game. I probably like him a bit more on FanDuel. He's only 6'7", but he's probably more like just a GPP play because I think we're locking in Drummond at the center on FanDuel.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. I guess OKC Houston canceled. We can skip that one. Makes it a bit easier. Next up, we have Atlanta, Chicago. Just open that one up.
And by the way, for that Houston game, we'll get the projections updated probably after the show. So for now, you guys can exclude them. If you want, Garry, you can show how to do that manually.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that after the show so everyone has 0.
Yeah, I guess this will be useful to see just so you know how to exclude players in bulk. So first thing you want to do is search up the team or the game. You just select it here, and then you just click right up here, and then click the drop down, exclude, and then everyone here is now excluded on the first page. Right now you actually have to go through every single page to do that.
I think on the second page it's just there's like a few guys, so you don't even have to do that. They won't come up in any builds. But
yeah, because there's 0. But I'll just show you guys just in case. So that's all you do, and then that whole game is now excluded. And you can always confirm on the bottom tab. We have a filter that actually shows you your player pool, so you can actually see the entire player pool, which includes excluded players as well. Then you have included players, and then this is players that are excluded, all here. So pretty straightforward. Okay, so next up, Atlanta, Chicago. I think there's a lot of news here. Cam Reddish is in. Rondo is out for Atlanta. Goodwin, probable. Capella, out.
Yeah.
Snell is out as well. And then Kevin Huerter in. I don't know how. Okongwu?
He's their high draft pick. Is he in or out?
He's injured right now. So
okay.
Looks like he's going to be out. And then for their starters for Atlanta, we have Hunter, Collins, Gallinari, Trae Young, and Bogdanovic.
Yeah, so these are projected starters. They're not confirmed. But this is my favorite game of the night. It has the highest total on the slate. Only a 2-point spread. We have injured guys. We have guys who aren't playing. And we have cheap guys, which is really important. So on most slates, Atlanta and Chicago games will be ones that we're targeting. We're talking about Atlanta first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Atlanta, obviously Trae Young is, if you can get him, I like him, but he's probably not going to fit into the cash build today. I like John Collins a lot with Capella out. So with Capella in, he moved to the 4, John Collins, and obviously they get less rebounds because they're both on the floor together. and he's not the lob threat anymore because Capella takes over that role. So we get the same role John Collins had last year. Before he got suspended last year, he was getting like 40, 45 a night. So I really like him on both sites, actually. He's someone I would try to target in my cash games if I can get there.
Yep.
Zach LaVine, we're talking about the Hawks still.
Yeah,
so other than John Collins and Trae Young, there's not really much here, but these guys are two of the top plays on the slate if you're including salary.
Okay. Before we move on, you mentioned Noel before. He's coming off the bench.
Yeah, okay. So if he was out, we could bump up Robinson more, but since he's in, we could just stay as we were.
Okay, and then on the Chicago side, Valentine questionable, Thad Young out. I think that's it. And then starting for them, we have Kobe White, Levine, Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., and Williams. What do you make of this Chicago squad?
Well, this Chicago squad is underpriced on both sides. So we have Zach LaVine. He's 7.9 on Fanduel, which is it's probably a lock to me. On DraftKings, he's also 7.9. So I like Zach LaVine a lot. He's one of my favorite plays, cash and GPP. We have Patrick Williams projected to start. He's min price on both sites. So he's the lock value play that we're probably going to have in all our lineups just because he's minimum price and starting in this elite game environment.
Yeah.
For the bigs for Chicago, on DraftKings, Wendell Carter's 4.4, Markkanen is 4.8, so they're just way too cheap for this game environment and for the players that they're missing. So with their projected minutes, they should be able to get there relative to their salary.
Yeah, and Patrick Williams looked really good in the preseason.
Yeah, so everyone here starting on the Chicago Bulls is in play. So I wouldn't be surprised if our optimals have like 2 or 3 players from the Bulls, and maybe even 2 or 3 from the Hawks. So this game is just an elite environment.
Yep. Okay, let's move on. Detroit, Minnesota. Let me just pull this one up. Okay, so this game we can go over Detroit first. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Do you? Servidis? Is he a difference maker here or no?
Is he injured?
Yeah, he's out.
No, I've never even heard of him. So
okay, just making sure. Okay, so for Detroit we have. Let's see. We have Wright starting, Hayes, Grant, Plumlee, Griffin. What do you think?
So this game has a 224 total. So compared to the last 2 games we were talking about, which were 230 and 234, this one's sort of middle of the pack. The low total games are around 215. So this one's 224. There aren't a lot of great plays here. There's no one that I'm trying to target on either team. I like Killian Hayes on DraftKings. He's only 3.9k. Other than that, maybe Jeremy Grant in GPPs. There's no one really here that stands out for cash games to me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Move on to Timberwolves.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're missing Jalen Noel and Jordan McLaughlin?
Yeah, he sucks anyways.
Okay, scrubs. Right now for them, we have starting D'Angelo Russell, Beasley. Is this Juancho or Willie? Hernan Gomez. Juancho. And then Josh Okogie, and Karl Anthony Towns, who I'm excited to see play.
Yeah, so in this game, I mean, on this team, you could probably make a case for Cat, but on Fanduel, we have Drummond for 1,000 less with no Kevin Love with a tighter spread. So I'm not prioritizing Cat. If you want to play him in GPPs, I don't hate it. There's not a lot here in this game that we should really talk about on this 13-game slate.
Okay, let's move right on. 3 games left. Sacramento, Denver. Just load this one up.
Yeah, so this game has a 226 total, and the spread is 7.5 in the Nuggets' favor.
Yep. Let's go over Sacramento first. So we have Corey Joseph, probable right now. Jeffries, Daquan Jeffries. I don't know if he's an X factor there. He's out. Hassan Whiteside's confirmed in now. And
do we know if Whiteside's coming off the bench?
I don't see that right now. I just see that he's in. And then we have Jabari Parker out for them. Let's go over the starting lineup right now. They have Fox, Heald, Bagley, Barnes, and Holmes. What do you make of these guys?
So this game, it's like the last game. It's sort of middle of the pack in terms of who we want to target for DFS. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. I like him. He's like John Morant. He can always get there. Obviously, Ja's in the better environment, but Fox looked great in the preseason, so I don't mind taking some shots on him in GPPs. I don't want anyone here in my cash games. There's not a lot of mispricing, and there's not a lot of usage bumps, so don't really want to target anyone here too much other than Fox and GPPs.
Okay. And then for Denver, let's go over them quickly. JaMychal Green out, and then Greg Whittington. I don't know. He's an X factor there as well. Probably not.
Yeah, if you've never heard of them, they're probably not X factors.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's new season, so I'm playing it safe right now. Starting right now, they have Murray, Harris, Millsap, Barden, and the Joker. What do you make of these guys?
So they have one of the highest team totals. The spread is 7.5, so it's a pretty big spread. I kind of like Michael Porter Jr. off the bench. He's probably going to get a lot of usage. If he hits his shots, he'll probably stay in and close halves over someone like Harris or Barton. So I don't mind jamming him into your GPP builds. I don't think he's needed in cash games. He's 5.4 on Fanduel, I believe, which is decent.
Yeah.
If he's last piece, I'm fine with that. But if I wouldn't try to prioritize him. Someone like Jokic, I'm okay with it, but just because there's better games to target and this game might blow out, I don't want to project a blowout, but it might blow out.
You never.
So, yeah, so I don't really want to target him or prioritize him. Jamal Murray is okay. He looked great in the bubble, but now they have Barton back playing, which I think hurts him. So there's not really much here. Maybe Jokic, take some shots on Jokic and GPPs, but other than that, I don't love anyone.
Okay, let's go next up. We have Utah versus Portland. Let's see what we have here. Let's go over Utah first. I think just Derek Favors is probable.
Okay.
Ingles.
And what do we have for starters?
Yeah, so for Utah right now we have Conley, Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, Bogdanovich, and Gobert.
Yeah, so this game, it has a 226 over-under. The spread is tight. It's 2, so it's a decent game to target. Utah, they have a few guys. They're kind of similar to teams like Philly, where they have a condensed. Like, we know who's going to have the ball a lot. We know who's going to take their shots. But the problem is they have like 5 guys that can take 10 to 15 shots on any given night. So Someone like Mitchell, I'm good with him. I think he's cheaper on. What side is he cheaper on? Yeah, he's cheaper on DraftKings, so I like him more on DraftKings. But I don't love him. Gobert, he's okay on DraftKings. He's 6'8". Yeah, there's not really too much here, just because we have such a huge slate with better games. Like if this was just a normal 5 or 6 game slate, we would probably have interest in Mitchell and Gobert just because it's a decent game. But on this slate, I don't think we need them.
Let's jump into Portland. For Portland, right now we have Little is out and Simmons questionable. Or is it Simons? Simons.
Yeah.
Right, and then for their starting, we have Lillard, McCollum, Covington, Nurkic, and Derek Jones Jr. What do you see there?
So, obviously we have Damian Lillard, who can just go off for 60 real points probably on any given night. So I like him in GBPs. I don't see anyone here that's going to be in my final cash build when I build later on. So they have Derek Jones Jr., he's minimum on Fanduel at 3.5k. He's pretty interesting. He has steal and block upside, which is, like I always say, better on Fanduel. So if you want to take some shots with him, maybe as a last piece in cash, I don't hate it. In GPPs, I don't hate him either. He's going to start. He should get a decent amount of minutes. So yeah, other than Dame and Derek Jones Jr., if you want to take some shots, I don't love anyone else.
Okay, let's jump into this last game. Dallas versus Phoenix. In terms of news, we can go over Dallas first. I think Powell's in. Maxi Kleber is probable. Other than that, nothing there. Their starters today look like it's going to be Doncic, Richardson, Finney-Smith, Hardaway Jr., and Powell. What do you like here? So,
like I was saying earlier in the earlier with the Atlanta-Chicago game, it has a super high total. So this is the second highest total on the slate with a only 1 point spread for Dallas. So this is my second favorite game to target players from. So I expect us to have a lot of guys from here in cash games. Luka is probably a lock on both sites just because KP is out. He's underpriced for his role. We have an elite game environment. So like all the stars are aligning. Everything is going in his favor here. There's really no reason not to play him. We're not projecting a blowout. He has insane usage rates. He has triple-double upside for DraftKings. He's probably a lock on both sites.
Yeah, before we move on, we actually have one question on Luka in our Discord. Aiden's asking if fading Luka is viable in GPP on FanDuel. He's lots of other good players at that position for cheaper is what he's thinking. What do you have to say?
Yeah, so he's probably going to be one of the highest owned players on the slate. So you have Luka at 11.4 on FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
If you move from Luka to Giannis, who's the same price, just small forward, you can make your lineups unique with that. And then if Luka ends up busting and Giannis has a ceiling game, you're way ahead of the field. You're probably live to win the whole thing if the rest of the chalk hits just with that one simple change.
Yeah, one simple trick. Okay, let's go over the Suns. They have Nader out, Saric out, and then Frank Kaminsky out. Starters, we have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Bridges, Crowder, and Aiden. What do you see here?
This team is decent just because they're in the elite game environment. So Booker, I like him a little less than last year because now he has Chris Paul as his point guard. I think that will reduce his assist rate. He'll probably score a little more, but we like it when our guys have the ball in their hands. So someone like Chris Paul doesn't really help his fantasy. Like, they'll probably become a better team, but he's probably going to be a little worse fantasy-wise. Someone I really like on FanDuel is Mikal Bridges. He's only 4-3, and he can always get there just because he can get 4 steals, 3 blocks in a game, and then if he does that, he probably has 50-point upside for his cheap price. I'm not saying he's going to do that. He's probably going to get like 30 points maximum, but he has that upside just because he's so long and active. So I like him a lot on FanDuel at 4-3. DeAndre Ayton he's a decent play, but I would rather get to Drummond anyways. If it was any other slate, like a 5-game slate, we would probably have more interest from the Suns, but on this slate, I don't think we need them too much.
Okay, I think that's all the games for today. That's a lot of games.
Yeah, so do you want to, we can build out a team on both sites, just real quick for the next, 10 minutes.
Cash, GPP?
What do the people want?
Yeah, we can do Q&A now while we build out. It's a little bit easier now that we're done going through the game, so if you guys have questions as well.
Yeah, put them in either of the chats, YouTube or Discord.
Yeah. We have 2 coming in.
So do you want to build out a lineup, or are we running out of time?
We can build one out.
Okay. Aiden says, do you want to go through a GPP strategy we can do?
Yeah, let's do it.
For the main slate, or should we do a showdown slate?
Let's
just go with the main slate.
Yeah, let's do main.
So, how about we do the idea with fading Luka? So go on FanDuel and just build 20 teams. Just no settings for now.
I have some settings actually. I think you can reset here. Reset all of them.
You might get Houston guys if you reset.
Oh yeah, whoops. Okay, well I've been filling it out as we've been going.
Okay, well yeah, just keep the settings we talked about so far.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you probably have to exclude the Houston guys.
No, I think I still have them here. They're out. Unless you see them here.
Oh, okay, yeah, they're excluded, yeah, okay. So we see that Luka is popping in most builds. If we just go back to our projections, and then we can make him like 52 instead of 55, and then we could bump Giannis up to like, let's say he gets 58, and let's see how that changes our builds. I think we'll get a lot of Rozier and Murray at point guard instead, which is, yeah, see, it's all going to be Murray and Rozier. So yeah, just one simple thing like that, and we're off the chalk with Luka. We have Giannis, who has just as much upside as Luka. Yeah, honestly, these teams look great if you're playing GPPs, just with that one simple change. Because you get the 2 best value plays at point guard now with Murray and Rozier.
Yeah.
And then small forward, you get Giannis in every build, which I like a lot.
Yeah, the only change we have here that I think I forced in, I only adjusted the minimum ownership percentages as we were going through the news today and the teams, but I'm not sure if you'd get this much Patrick Williams without that. But I sort of like him, so I would keep him in today, right now.
Yeah. And then we could do, I think, like this, just as one change, I'm good with running these teams in like a 20 entry max contest, because if Giannis beats Luka, you're probably, with the ownership in mind, you have a good shot at having a competitive team at the end of the night.
Yeah, you don't really need to do anything too crazy. You just have to kind of take a stance on like 1 or 2 things, or if you have a player that you really, really like that you think will do well, that's projected to be low ownership, and you lock him in. That does really well sometimes.
Yep. I think we have a question from the Hug here. He said, or the Thug now. He says, it has to do with the group tool. Do you guys have any recommendations on how you can figure correlation? Is there plans to do something with a correlation tool? I think that is the best way to maximize a group tool. Yeah, so with the player groups, all we do there is try to minimize negative correlation and maximize positive correlation. So on today's slate, we can set a group. Let me see some. Can I see some of the builds, and we can see if there's anything that we think is negatively correlated? So we have. Okay, so we have a lot of Giannis in this build. So if we think Giannis has a big game, we can bring it back with someone from the other team. So I think we can make a group with Giannis and Tatum. So if this game stays close and shoots out, Tatum and Giannis will probably have a lot to do with it. So if we set a group that makes it 2 to 4, and then we can add some other pieces like Jaylen Brown,
Let me just open up.
Chris Middleton.
Let me just open up that game. That's how you would do it if you were.
Yeah, so the point of this group is we're trying to. If we think this game has a high chance to shoot out, we want at least 2 players in every lineup in this build that we're making. So we can probably set a maximum of like 60% for each of these guys just so we don't get 100% Giannis.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so this is a group that it's more game theory based. So we're trying to positively correlate this game that we think will shoot out and doesn't have crazy high ownership like the Bulls, Hawks, or Mavericks Suns game. So is this the build?
Yeah, this is the build here.
Okay, so yeah, now we have. I would actually probably not include Middleton and Giannis in the same lineup, just because. Oh, can you go back to the groups? I think we should do it so we do individual teams. So one for the Bucks and one for the Celtics. So go to player groups.
Yeah, hold up. My Firefox is getting upset.
Yes, because with the group we did right now, we're getting builds that have 2 of Giannis and Middleton in the same lineup, so we're not getting the bring back with the Celtic player. So let's just make one group specifically for the Bucks and another specifically for the Celtics, if that's possible.
Yep. So, although I think my browser's a little funny right now.
Do we have any other questions? Let's see in the YouTube chat.
I don't want to refresh the page. I feel like that might fix it, but the player groups actually don't save right now in your browser. But we'll change that so all your settings will actually change or sync to your DFS Crunch account, and then you switch browsers or switch computers. All the settings that you worked on will transfer over. But right now it's not the case, so that's why I'm not refreshing it.
Yep.
But I guess I might have to. What do you think?
You could just can you remove Middleton and Giannis from or Tatum and Brown from the first group?
I think I need to refresh this. Let's see.
Okay, so Aiden coming in clutch with a question. He says, Rozier, 2v2 for Fanduel Cash, Rozier, DeRozan versus Murray, Bledsoe. Scared of LaMelo taking Rozier's minutes? Well, the thing we have to consider here is Rozier is underpriced. He's only 4.6. So even if LaMelo takes his minutes, he still doesn't need too many to get there. I probably lean the Murray side just because I like Murray a lot with Derek White out. Bledsoe's a decent play just because of his game environment. So yeah, I would go with the second side.
Okay.
And then with this group, is it working now?
Yeah, is this what you wanted?
Yeah, so and then let's add a few more players. Let's add who else? Drew Holiday on the Bucks and Marcus Smart on the Celtics. Yeah, okay, so can you set it to 1 to 3? The range 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Yeah, and then if you guys enjoyed this, we're gonna wrap it up soon, but if you enjoyed this, we're doing it daily, so give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm a lot. Helps us get more exposure, and then we can do more of these broadcasts. We have another question from the Hug while we wait. With the bigger slate, do you have any recommendations for, say, a 20 max GPP? How would you use your exposures? Seemed like a good on 2 games. It was good to take a few stands. So like this build that we're doing right now, we took a stand with Luka and Giannis. So our main stand was that Giannis would outperform Luka, meaning that our lineups here don't have any Luka and they have a lot of Giannis. So we're saying that our theory is that the Bucks Celtics game will shoot out, and we have at least one of the main guys from each team in every lineup. So in the first one we have Giannis from the Bucks and Smart and Tice from the Celtics. So that's pretty decent. I like that. Obviously, if it stays close, Smart and Giannis will probably see a lot of minutes. If we go down a bit, do we have any with Tatum?
Just search.
Yeah, so he's a bit lower. So I would probably bump his projection up just because we're running the script that Tatum and the Celtics keep it close and it's a shootout. So I would bump his projection up if we had more time.
Yeah.
And if I was actually building it. Or do you want to do it now?
I mean, we can.
Yeah, so make him like 48. So now we'll probably get more Tatum and less Marcus Smart, which makes sense in this build. So yeah, with this build, we're still building around chalk players like Murray, Rozier, Zach LaVine, John Collins. We're getting Rockets in here because they're not excluded.
Oh yeah.
But once so I'll get that fixed once we get off the show. Yeah. So the main point of that is the main point of this build is to get off of Luka, get onto Giannis, and bring it back with the Celtic.
Yeah. Aside from that, like in terms of optimizer settings, I think if you do a take like that, you do some game theory, you don't really need to mess around that much more if you like the projections as is. Like I said,
because we changed a few things ourselves. We bumped up Tatum, we bumped up Giannis, so our builds they'll be pretty unique. Just with that, we're fading Luka. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, if I was doing this and I had that whole game script there, I probably wouldn't touch any of the other settings here. One setting I might actually do myself today is probably the lineup ownership rules. I don't know if I would combine it with this game script here, but something I would consider just messing around with like a clean slate on the optimizer. First thing I do, I'll just see what sort of lineups it gives me if I do that, who I get in my player pool.
Are you going to build any GPP lineups for single game today? It's the late game, Dallas at Phoenix.
Yeah, I'll probably do that one.
Yeah, okay, so if you want, you could probably talk some strategy in the Discord for that later on in the night when you're building it.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, okay, so are we good?
One last question. With Dunn and Rondo being out, along with Goodwin being questionable, who's backing up Trae Young? Atlanta Hawks.
With Dunn, what's the question? Sorry.
Dunn and Rondo being out, and Goodwin being questionable. Who is backing up Trae Young?
Probably. I think Goodwin is probable, but if Goodwin was out, that would probably make Trae Young a lock. Like, they'll probably play him for 40 minutes. He's young. They wanna. It's the elite game environment that we were talking about. Like, they don't really have any other true point guards. Maybe someone like, maybe Reddish could run it. Kevin Huerter. But I think, yeah. So if Goodwin was out, I really like Trae. He would probably be one of my favorite plays, even in cash games.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Says, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, let's wrap it up for today. Get to building our lineups. 50 minutes left. Lots of news. There's still a bit of news leading up to lock that I have to consider, right?
Yeah, so if there's anything that breaks, we'll obviously put it in the Discord and talk about it.
Okay, awesome.
Before lock.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in today, and be sure to come back tomorrow. We'll be doing... Or there's no show tomorrow, right? There's no games.
Yeah, not tomorrow, on
Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas
25th.
Day. Yeah.
There'll be another show 2 hours before the main slate. I don't know what time the main slate is on the 25th, but yeah, if you like the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us. And yeah, do you want to just go over that contest we have, the giveaway, one last time?
Yeah, so once we reach 100 YouTube subscribers, we're going to give away a free month of premium access to our tool. So all you have to do is like and retweet the pinned tweet on twitter.com/DFScrunch.
Okay.
I'll link it in the chat one more time.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, good luck, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.